Just some initial thoughts for you. One of the things we talked about pregame today, how good the Padres starting pitching had been this turn through the rotation, whether it was Yu Darvish, whether it was Joe Musgrove. We got a major update on Joe. He's going on the IL. I'll have more on that in just a second in case you missed it earlier, how good he was earlier this week. And then, of course, Dylan Cease and Michael King in this series in Arizona. Well, today showed you just why it's so important that your starting pitching is good, really never minding what your offense does day in, day out. The Padres, during this 4-game win streak, entering today, had a 1.14 ERA from their starting pitching in this streak. 3 earned runs given up in 23 2/3 innings with a 193 opponent batting average. 23 strikeouts to no walks in the last 4 games for Padres starting pitching. This was a tough one today for Matt Waldron. Diamondbacks were really all over him in the first inning. They end up scoring 4 runs on 4 hits in that opening frame. Waldron walks a batter in that opening frame. But to the Padres' credit, and this is what was sort of frustrating about this one today, the Padres battled back in the second. They made it a 4-3 game, and quite frankly, with the way the Padres have been swinging the bat lately, you felt like, all right, if Waldron can settle in a little bit, Padres can find a way to win this game, score some runs, and even after Waldron then gave up 2 more runs in the second to make it 6-3, Padres found a way to scratch across a run in the top half of the third to make it 6-4. But then after that, the 4 runs in the 4th inning make it 10-4 Arizona, 11-4 after 1 more run in the 5th inning, and the game sort of got out of hand. Not a great final line today for Matt Waldron. 3 innings total, did pitch into the 4th inning, was taken out. 8 runs given up, 7 earned, 8 hits, walked 3, struck out 2, and gave up a home run. Johnny Brito had a rough first inning of work. He ends up giving up 3 earned runs, 5 hits in 3 innings, although Brito would settle down a little bit. But I thought today, look, is it the end of the world? The Padres don't sweep this series, even though you felt like they had a really good opportunity against the Diamondbacks team that's banged up and not playing very well right now. You did feel like today was a really good opportunity for the Padres to win a 5th in a row, to sweep a series in Arizona. Doesn't happen. It's not the end of the world, but a lot of the issues today were due to the Padres not just not getting a great starting pitching performance from Matt Waldron, and even when they cut it to a 1-run game and then cut it to a 2-run game again with the run in the 3rd, things sort of unraveled in that 4th inning and the game got away. So I thought today once again proved the point that while the offense is incredibly important, and the addition of Luis Arraez will help this lineup, no doubt. It is so important that the Padres on most nights get some really good starting pitching. Didn't quite get that here today with a frustrating outing for Matt Waldron. So one of those games, one of those days where, hey, if your starter gives up 8 runs in 3 innings, you're probably not going to win that game, and that's kind of how this one felt here today. The update on Joe Musgrove, in case you are just joining us, maybe you didn't hear the pregame, maybe you didn't check social media today. There was a major update on Joe right before today's game. Musgrove going on the IL with what the Padres officially called right elbow inflammation on the transaction we saw. Randy Vasquez is being called up from AAA El Paso, so he'll take Musgrove's spot, you would assume, in the rotation for Tuesday. But then we found out from Kevin Acee from the San Diego Union Tribune a little bit later, and a number of other reporters tweeted this out as well later on, that Joe is dealing with triceps tendonitis, and it was precautionary. The Padres putting him on the IL. So, look, you hope for Joe. It's something that just means he's out for a couple of weeks, and then he's back on the mound and everything's good. Obviously, anything with the right arm, anything involving a tricep, an elbow, whatever it might be, exactly what's going on for Joe Musgrove. Not the greatest thing to hear, but you hope for Joe. Couple of weeks on the IL. Hopefully he's back here pretty soon. And Randy Vasquez, again, was called up from AAA El Paso. So not a great day for the Padres on what's been a pretty good 4 or 5 days for this team. But here today, Matt Waldron struggling in his start. Padres falling behind, never could fully recover. and Joe Musgrove also going on the IL. So not a great day for the Padres on this Sunday. The only other thing you could point to in this game, and I want to give some grace because, look, I think when you're behind 10-4, 11-4, that's putting a huge onus on your offense to, come up with a huge game and go win you a game, with which this offense we've seen now is capable of at times. But the frustrating part about the offense today, they get the 3 runs in the second. They were able to scratch across 1 more in the third. But then after that, the Padres actually had a hit in every inning after the third. The problem was they had singles, just a one-off single in each of the final 6 innings of this game. They had a single in the 4th, same in the 5th, same in the 6th, same in the 7th, the 8th, and 9th. And the sort of incredible part about the final 6 innings of this game offensively was that the Padres had a single in each inning, and they didn't get the runner to second base in those innings, and the runners were stranded in each of those innings. So they had a little something going in every inning, but they couldn't find a way to really string hits together in the final 6 innings of this game. Again, when you're down 10-4, 11-4, it's a hard ball game to win. So I'll give the offense a little break for today because they have been really good over the course of the first couple of games in this series. And we saw the Diamondbacks offense, which came into today's game just ice cold. We talked plenty about it pregame. They just were not scoring at all. Well, it was only a matter of time in all likelihood until the Diamondbacks did wake up offensively. Today was that day. And look, it's hard to win a ball game when you have a tough start from your starting pitcher, as Matt Waldron went through today. All right, a lot to do on our post-game coverage. When we come back, we'll break down this game in its entirety. We have the radio highlights for you. We'll hear from Padres manager Mike Schilt, and much, much more to come. Final score again here today, Diamondbacks 11 and the Padres 4, as the Padres do take 2 out of 3 in this 3-game set. Padres do see their 4-game winning streak come to an end, but no time to dwell on it. It's on to Wrigley Field, on to Chicago's start of a 3-game series tomorrow in the Windy City. More after this on the Padres Radio Network.